Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day. Well, guys, this is it, the ever elusive Pink Floyd album ranking. It's finally here. So if you're watching, I know you're watching, grab a pillow, grab a blanket, grab some food, grab a drink. We're in this for the long haul. This is going to be a major episode. There's five of us here. We've got Bill Schuster, Brian McFadden, Peter Kent, and Andrew Cox, and yours truly. So what we're going to do is each of us are going to give our rankings from 15 to 1. Yes, even the Endless River album is being ranked. I know people out there say that it's not a real Pink Floyd album. Fuck it, it is. Okay?
Yes, it is.
There you go. So we're going to start with Mr. Bill Schuster.
All right, this should be good. Let me take a long, deep breath here, settle in for the night or the day in Peter's case.
True. It's going to be fun.
Well, conveniently enough, you have just mentioned my number 15 choice, The Endless River. I'm not going to go in too great detail on it. It's not a bad album. It's a nice little bit of music for those who wanted a little bit more of Rick Wright's playing, but realistically, it's kind of hard to see it as a Pink Floyd album. Officially, it is, but there's a reason it's at the bottom of the list. So good, but not essential.
Yeah, it kind of felt, sorry, just quickly, for me, I like the album, but it kind of felt like at the end of it, like, was this really necessary?
Yeah. Oh, right. It's draining, but it's all leftover stuff from Division Bell and from Momentary Lapse of Reason. It's all just superlative stuff, which I'm glad they gave him a spot to play since he didn't get any recognition on the wall after he put in all the efforts. Hey, maybe it's a redemption album.
Could be. Okay, Brian, what's your number 15?
My number 15 is going to be More. What I understand is they did this soundtrack, right, for a BBC documentary that was called The Body, right? And I remember watching that growing up. I saw it on PBS here in the States, and they used music from that and with a filmmaker. So they ended up developing a relationship over this, and he was helping them with Amagama later on. But most of the music in that is actually from Moore, and also Adam Hart Mother. They also used that as far as the music for whatever whatever the I don't know, how do you say it? The graphics, all that they used that for the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pick More.
Okay, all right. Mr. Peter Kent from Australia.
Hi, yes. Well, I'm with Bill here, The Endless River. Yeah, I think it's just like it's leftovers from the Division Bell. It's got essentially one song and a bunch of instrumentals. In retrospect, I don't think it was probably necessary, but it is an official album. So yeah, it's an obvious choice for me. The Endless River, number 15. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a nice Sunday morning feel, kind of, having a coffee, or you know what I mean? Just usually I take Sunday off from all my bombastic stuff during the week, because all I do is listen to music. I don't watch TV, but Sunday's reserved for all the stuff that needs to be listened to that I don't normally listen to.
Cool. No, that's a good choice. I kind of thought that Endless River would be kind of at the bottom of the list, So Andrew,
there's that Ukraine song too. They have the Ukraine one that they did.
Yeah,
but I don't know if that's a solo effort. I don't know.
Okay, Andrew, what's your number 15?
I went with More. It's my bottom of my list that I have is pretty much interchangeable. There's some of the albums I don't really go to. I don't listen to a whole lot. And I just picked More. It's the first one without Sid Barrett, and it just doesn't do a whole lot for me, and that's the reason why I picked More as my lowest
Yeah, that's a good
pick.
point. Yeah, because without Sid, it just kind of it meandered a little bit. You know, it just
Yeah,
kind of floundered.
sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got Andrew. Sorry, Andrew. I've got Ryan Gavalier's list here. We're gonna make a lot of mistakes tonight, guys. Deal with it. It's gonna be the way it is. For you
Good
out there
editing.
watching. I've got Ryan Gavalier's list here, and he picked Endless River for his. So, like I said, that seems to be the popular choice. And he didn't put any notes in terms of music and stuff for any of the albums. My number 15, this is going to cause a lot of shit, but you know what? It is what it is.
Here it comes.
Duck, Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Okay.
Ooh,
You know, it's a good album.
You don't like Bike?
I like Bike. Actually, I don't ride a bike, but I like Bike as a track. I mean, you know, songs like Astronomy Domine, you know, is good.
Sure.
The US version had See Emily Play on the album. Flaming was the single, but I mean, I got into Pink Floyd. I got into this stuff, like the stuff from Piper that Gets It Dawn, like later on through the Echoes compilation, the greatest hits. So it's still new to me. Yeah, that's my number 15. So 14 more to go. Okay. Bill,
Right.
you're 14.
I'm going in reverse chronological order here, apparently. Number 14 is the Division Bell.
Oh,
ooh.
This
I
was
saw
very
them on
close.
that tour. I
with
saw
the-
that. That was amazing. I think it's a great album.
Full disclosure, I'm a Roger Waters fanboy, so be forewarned. It's not that I don't like this. In fact, I liked it more than I expected to. I hadn't listened to it from start to finish in years until here the last couple of weeks when I've been cramming on some of these that are not part of my regular rotation. And I actually liked it a fair amount, but I still find Roger's absence is glaring for me, and it's too long. I think
It's just another Moody album.
yeah, it
Just-
just meanders a bit too
Yeah.
much. Take out 3
Yeah.
or 4 tracks, I think it would have been stronger. So,
Almost
but
like the
it's
Sid Barrett effect.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this overall though, I like it better than I used to, so I'll give it that. It's not a bad album. I used to talk a lot of crap about it, but no, it's not near as bad as I used to think it was. It's actually
Yeah.
decent.
I'll forgive you, Bill.
All right.
I'll forgive you. Okay. Brian.
Okay. Number 14. I'm gonna go Endless River with this one. And I do like what it is. There's a lot of good ambiance. But again, since I don't have the record and I have it downloaded, I don't know any of the track titles, but it's
That's
a
fine.
good album. Yeah. I know a lot of the other ones. These are new to me.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, again,
I
Endless
downloaded a
River.
lot for this assignment. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Endless River, I knew it was going to be at the bottom of the list for most people. So it's like, okay, well, it is what it is.
I remember it released, and a lot of people were really like, you want to talk about Waters and Gilmore camps being split. This thing like split everything apart with
I
the
know
rest of
that-
what was left of the camps. You know,
I
it's
know.
like
Yeah,
they-
this was
Yeah,
a
it did.
polarizing
Understand?
album. Yeah.
yeah.
But
Okay. I think it's a
Okay.
strong take. I think it's a good album, but it's one of those you got to make time to put on in order to listen to it all the way through. So
yeah, no,
there's no hits off of this one. There's no radio friendly stuff, really.
Yeah.
It's just all mellow and nice. I like it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, Mr. Peter Kent.
Number 14, I've got Umaguma. Number 14. Is it just the studio material, is it? Which is the
Yeah.
yeah. The only part I like about this is the I like Grantchester Meadows
Yeah.
and the narrow way, the David Gilmour part, but the rest of it I can do without.
Astronomy Domain? No.
Which one?
Astronomy Domain?
East. Oh, we're just talking about the studio, I think, isn't it?
Studio
Yeah, we
part,
are.
yeah.
We are.
That's on the
Oh,
live.
that's
Yeah, the live
Yeah.
album is good. The live album is
Well, that's
quite
good.
good, but
Really good.
the studio stuff just yeah, Grantchester Meadows and Narrowway's not too bad. That's about it. So yeah, that's why it's a bit low on my list. Number 14, Umaguma.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, Andrew, you're number 14.
Endless River. It's my Pink Floyd album that I want to go to sleep to.
That's what I use it for. That's how I
That's a
listen
hell
to
of
it.
an endorsement.
I like this album, but I want to put it on and just like zone out and
It's mellow.
just like take
Yeah.
a nap.
Yep.
Take a nap.
It's
So
a good
but I
Brainstorm
can play
album.
it every once in a while. It's more of a Sunday morning album.
Yeah.
Like when you got your cup of coffee or your tea and you're reading the newspaper. That's the
Let's
album
see
I
if
want
we
to put
match
on.
way up. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's true.
Way up.
It's true.
That's my
Weird.
number there. So
Okay. That's it. That's a good choice. And there are no right or wrong answers here, guys. It's our opinions, right?
That's it. Yeah.
yeah.
There's no
Ryan's number 14 is the Division Bell.
Ooh, I don't
And
know. That's a better
according
album.
to him, if I remember correctly, I know you're watching, Ryan. He had said that this album had gone up on his list, so I guess it was number 15. I was now 14. So on his list. So
It'll change tomorrow. You watch. He'll be like, no. You'll see it in the comments. He'll be like, that's my number 13.
Yeah, he'll message me. He's like, you made a mistake. Okay. My number 14 is More. It's okay for a soundtrack, songs like Cirrus Minor and the Now song and the Crying song, it's all right, but it's not really one that I go to a lot, maybe, it could change, but right now, no. I'm sorry, it's ain't gonna happen. So all right.
That album seemed more like a collaboration with some outside sources as well.
Yeah, with the director,
the label or whatever, when they was before they even got it, started ignoring labels in production and interviews and all that.
Yeah, no, true.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill, number 13.
Right, continuing in reverse chronological order. A Momentary Lapse of Reason. This, much like Division Bell, I like this more than I expected to, but I mainly like the first half. All the songs that were played on the radio when this was new, I enjoyed them well enough, and I still do. But the second half, I find kind of drones on, and sometimes that can be really great for Pink Floyd, but I just found it didn't work for me so much on this album. It seemed like Dave and all his hired guns were trying too hard to sound like Pink Floyd in the second half. The first half seemed more natural and more like the Dave solo album that it started out as, which is probably why I like that part better. It seemed like his heart maybe was in the first half more, or maybe I'm just pulling things out of the air that don't exist. But that's kind of the vibe I get from it.
Well, you hit a button on that. You hit it.
Did you have you heard the 2019 remix of it?
Not yet. I'm interested to a degree, but really though, I'm pretty big on 80s artifacts sounding like they come from the 80s. I like things that are locked in time that can act as audio time machines.
I love that album.
Okay. Well, the only reason why I ask is because they had Nick Mason went in and re-recorded all of his drums live.
Yeah.
Like so
they had the live concert. This is my VHS, but
yeah.
They had the live concert for that. It was good.
Well, it's a good choice. It's a good choice, Bill. Okay, Brian, you're number 13.
Pipers at the Gates of Dawn, which I like a lot, but you have to put it somewhere, and it's not in the top. But it is in my rotation at least 2 or 3 times a year, maybe, depending on what's going on with like usually it's a rainy day, or usually it's a really sunny day. But it depends on the time. If it's sunny, it's usually about sunset, and if it's rainy, it's usually in the morning. But all these albums are moody, so they all kind of fit a different
Cool.
tone.
Yeah.
tone.
That's all right.
I love, again, I think it's Astronomy to Mine is off of that one, which I think is one of my favorite songs. I actually made a top 10 too, but it's on there.
Yeah.
Bike I like. It's fun and it just goofy. I like it, but exactly what it is, it's something that uplifting, And a lot of the rest of the album isn't really that depressing. It's more experimental, and it's very as a musician or growing musician at the time, it really opened up your eyes to like what noise and sounds can actually penetrate your mind and open up a whole different like broad spectrum of what else can you absorb, what else would be allowed into your circle of noise. But
True, very true.
It's good. I like the cover too. I like the cover a lot because
the covers are good.
That whole psychedelic era, especially with like the Beatles and all that too, the kind of meld together.
Yeah, the cover gives a good indication of what you're gonna find on the album, right? So
yeah, it definitely screams prog of some sort. It, not like Austin Powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Horns and horn section and all that.
Yeah. Okay, moving along, Mr. Peter Kent.
I went for it, number 13. I went for More, the soundtrack album.
Yeah.
A bit disjointed. I like parts of it. The two songs I like a lot are Cymbeline. I think that's a good song. And Green is the Color. I like those two really a lot, quite a lot. But the rest of it's a bit meandering. A lot of instrumentals too. And those two are the standouts for me. And More at number 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I first heard that album, it reminded me a lot in the vein of Tangerine Dream. I was already used to that, like soundtracks and stuff that are already going on. And then this came out, and I was like, are they trying to be Tangerine Dream? Of course, this came out, I think, before Tangerine Dream.
Yeah.
I had it confused when I was a kid, but yeah.
No, it's cool.
Cool. It's the same circle, same symbiote circle.
Yeah.
Same influences.
Okay. Mr. Andrew Cox, number 13.
My number 13 is Adam Hart Mother. I like the fact I saw an interview a while ago where Roger Waters said this is a really awful, embarrassing album. And
he's wrong.
Side one, it has a suite on it. And then and it's much easier to listen to for me than side two, but it's just I like it, but it's just something I don't go to a lot. So
no, I get what you're saying. What I find just quickly, what I find interesting is like when bands release an album and then like you say 2 years later or whatever, they come back and say, what, that album was crap, we didn't do our best. It's like they denounce it, right? And I'm like, how do you expect the fans to like it if you don't like it yourself?
Take the money and run is what they did. Yeah, you're turning off like even younger generations that are growing up that haven't heard that yet, and now everything's on internet and everything's
exactly.
Now they're coming up, let's say the 10-year-olds and whatever, and they're finding it from their grandfathers or their fathers or their parents' collection, and then that's it. It's almost an immediate turn off where it's like I just want to turn off the artist as opposed to turn off the album.
True.
Especially with Roger Waters and his political stuff, and I agree with free speech, and I know he's kind of out there with some ideas, and he's seen a lot more than I have, I guess.
No, I get what you're saying.
But I don't like some of his attitude and his smugness when he comes across in his interviews talking about.
I get what you're saying. Okay. On Ryan's list for number 13, he's got Adam Hart Mother. So, I mean, these lists are pretty much in sync here, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Somewhat,
Um,
yeah.
My number 13, as I pull up my list, is A Saucer Full of Secrets. Again, a lot of this list for me is the albums I go back to listen to more. I mean, it's a good album, you know, Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun, Let There Be Light, the title track, you know, really good album. The second release after Sid Barrett was ousted from the band, he's got one track, I think, on this album, which
Yeah,
is
Jug Band Blues.
Jug Band Blues.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's a good album. I need to spend more time with this. Well, get that joke right more. I need to spend more time with these albums, right? But right now it's number 13. So
I love the cover on that with the trees and all that. Am I right?
Yeah.
Is that the same?
Yeah.
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 Oh, it's just cool looking. It looks like you're getting another prog album.
Mhm.
No, it does. It does. Okay, Mr. Bill Schuster, number 12.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and echo Piper at the Gates of Dawn. I know there is a definite subsection of Pink Floyd fans who think Sid could do no wrong. Sid was very important for the early days of the band and part of their whole mythology, but frankly, he's my least favorite of the 5 Pink Floyd members. I mean, he spent the least amount of time with the band and their recordings, and he kind of seems almost like a peripheral member to me. So this is a fun album. It's a cool relic of 1967. Fits right in with stuff the Moody Blues and so many other bands were doing at that time.
Yeah.
But as far as Pink Floyd albums go, it's a rare listen. It's I don't listen to it so much as a Pink Floyd album as I do as, hey, let's listen to some cool psychedelic relic from the late 60s.
Yeah.
When I'm in that mood, this fits that purpose. But
Yep.
And yeah, astronomy. I've heard you guys both pronounce it. I've heard astronomy, domine and domine. I've never known which is the proper way to say it. So
I know.
either
you
way,
never
if
know.
anyone knows, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Depends
never
on which
know.
side of the
I say that's one of the best songs on the album, if not the best, and it's much better live on another one that we could, who knows how to pronounce, Umaguma or Umaguma, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
But at any rate, yeah, that's Piper.
Okay. Brian, what's your number 12?
I didn't write it down, but the one that you were just talking about.
Umaguma.
No, the other one before that. I like the cover.
Piper.
Saucer.
Saucerful. Yeah.
Saucer Full of Secrets. That one.
Okay.
And again, I don't have the titles, so I can't tell you what songs I like off of it. Which there are a couple strong titles that I do like off of that album. So,
That's cool.
I listen to it. I don't have it, so I can't. I can't talk about the titles, which I probably
No, it's
should.
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Half
Okay.
the time I'm busy, so I just throw music in and
Yeah.
I'm off.
I'm the
doing
same
whatever
way.
I'm doing music on. You know, yeah, I don't look at. I don't even look at cover art or anything anymore. I just don't.
I'm the same way. Okay, Mr. Peter Kent.
Number 12, I went for this one. Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Yeah. I don't mind Sid Barrett, but I would say probably my 2 favorites on here would be Bike and Astronomy Domine or Domine.
Dominic, yeah.
And the gnome isn't too bad either. I don't mind a little bit of that, the gnome. But I did like his the singles that were released around that time that weren't on here. Arnold Lane, remember Arnold Lane and
Yeah.
Yeah, the Arnold
See
Lane.
Emily Play. I like those tracks, but they weren't on this album.
There's
So yeah,
there's that Echo's
Sorry?
greatest hits. There's that Echo's greatest hits with the double CD, and they put them all
yes,
Yeah.
into each other.
Yeah, they put all that
was-
on it. Yep.
they put them on there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was because it's remastered too, remixed or remastered, so it sounds
Yeah.
awesome on the CD.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it
but
does,
probably
actually.
just bike and Stony Domain, and the name's not too, as like I said, the name's not too bad, but yeah, just a bit doesn't do really that much for me, really. But stick for a couple of songs, yeah.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
So number
Cool.
That's
12,
awesome. You got
Piper.
is that an original press that you got in England or
No, that's a reissue.
a reissue? It looks awesome. I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
Peter looks after his albums pretty
2016, I
good.
think it came out. Yeah,
it had the
Yeah.
hype sticker on it, so I was thrown
Mm.
off.
Hmm.
That's awesome though.
Okay, Andrew, what's your number 12?
Is Obscured by Clouds.
Okay.
I like this album, but it's not a favorite of a lot of Pink Floyd fans. It does point its way to the next album, which is Dark Side, so it goes that direction.
Yeah.
And it's a soundtrack to a French film that I've never seen, and it just I love the cover, but I don't go to it a whole lot. So I
Yeah.
think the cover's pretty cool, and especially the inside cover. It's great.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. Okay, Ryan's number 12 is More. So I mean, and again, he didn't write any notes on it on tracks and stuff, but you know what? There it is. It's number 12. My
He's
number
gonna get a
12.
licking. He's gonna get a licking in the chat. He's gonna get in the comments down below. He's gonna get a
It's
licking.
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
He better leave a like just for all this inconvenience.
No, I know. I know he will. He will. Ryan's a good guy. My number 12 is Umagumma. You know, it's okay. I mean, I liked it more than I thought I would. You know, the Narrow Way Part 1 is good. Grantchester Meadows is another good track. And Peter and I did not discuss the tracks that we liked on this album at all. So it's it's quite interesting. So yeah, we're on number 11. And by the way, guys, when we get to number 8, we're gonna pause. Anyone that needs to go take a quick break, and we're gonna come back for part 2.
I need a cigarette.
Okay, well, right now we're at number 11. So
You could edit that out.
yeah, we'll edit it. Bill?
All right. No, that's part of the real world color on these videos there.
Oh yeah.
Keeps things lively.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna follow Andrew's lead here and go with Obscured by Clouds. I've always thought this was a good, not great album. It has a really nice flow to it, but
Yes, it does.
I really like the lyrics to some Free 4, but overall, I don't think there's a lot of standout individual tracks on it. It's just a nice, pleasant
It's a
listen.
yeah, right. It's a circle.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it's
nothing
not
wrong
heavy,
with it,
it's
but
not heavy front loaded and it's not heavy back loaded either, but it starts mellow and then it ends mellow.
Sounds mellow.
yeah. So if you just want to chill out, it's another one of those. If you just want to chill out on a Sunday and
Chill out album.
Just let it
Usually
happen.
I'm doing paperwork or I'm doing whatever on the computer. I got it in the background. That's stuff I put on just so I'm not beating my brain with double bass and what I mean, slam
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. Just quickly though, Bill, I gotta say I like your props behind you there.
oh yeah.
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 The
I noticed
dark
that.
side interior gatefold there.
I noticed that.
Hey, if it
Okay,
looks good on
there's
an album cover, it'll look good on a t-shirt.
Have the cup too here. We've
There
got
you
all
go.
kinds of rainbows and pyramids in here.
Yep, that was a triple threat. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Brian, you're number 11.
Yeah, I'm doing Obscured by Clouds too. Yep, and I like it. Yeah. Oof. It's just atmospheric for me. And again, I don't have the titles, but nothing stands out on this. I like it as a whole, as a whole journey through.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, Mr. Peter Kent.
Number 11, I went for A Saucer Full of Secrets. At number 11, But what I like in this is set the controls for the heart of the sun. Probably the standout song. Let there be more light. It's quite good. Seaside, I don't mind. Corporal Clegg, I'm not big on that one. Yeah, it's got its moments, but just not a top tier album for me. Yeah, it's real early on in the discography too, and just a little bit better than Piper for me. But yeah, just not a top tier album, but has a couple of good moments. Yeah, I would say.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah,
pretty much.
got highs and lows. Yeah, it's a good album.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Andrew, number 11.
I'm going to go with Umaguma. It has my favorite title of a song, which is number 6. Several species of small furry animals gathering in a cave and grooving with a pict. I like that.
Okay.
The song's okay,
That's
but the title's
Scottish.
awesome.
That's
So,
Scottish. That's the same producer that they did the thing with Moore in the Body movie. That's the
Yeah, it
same
is.
guy. I think
It's the
he
same
wrote
guy.
that and they collaborated on it. He's in that. I think he's the one singing. It's
Okay.
Scottish.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
just one I don't go to. I like side 1, but we're not talking about side 1. But side 2 is just it's like another mellow album. That Sunday album for me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's awesome. In certain occasions, yes. I think it's very moody. It's a moody album.
I think you
Yeah,
gotta be in
it's
the
very
mood to
moody.
listen to Amagama. You know, like, I find it interesting how Gilmore said that to him, Amagama was crap. like pure unadulterated crap, right? And it's like, oh Jesus Christ, okay.
They were
So-
floundering, man. They didn't know what they were gonna do, and they had the contract and everything else with the record company, and then Sid had to
Yeah, they had to do something.
yeah,
they had to do something, and that's why half of it's live, and then half of it is like 6 new songs.
yeah, that's fine. You know what? It was also a time for experimentation too. So
Yeah, paid out.
Oh yeah. Okay, Ryan's number 11 is Momentary Lapse of Reason.
Oh,
Tell you, guys, by the way, do not get mad at us in the comments for the picks that that other people have given.
that's fine words.
It is what it is, guys.
That's fine word. No, I'm kidding.
It is what it bloody well is. Okay, I'm gonna get my list up here because I got 2 lists going here. My list, my number 11 on the list is Adam Hart Mother. What to say about this album? Holy shit. Side 1 to me is fantastic. I think it's great. The Adam Hart Mother Suite, If is fantastic. Summer 68 is okay. Alan Psychedelic Breakfast, well, okay. It is what it is, right? I mean, and again, Gilmore has said that the Adam Hart Mother Suite is full of crap. So that's my number. That's my number 11. So, Bill, you're number 10.
Well, I never have replaced this on CD, but I do still have my classic Umaguma record here. So
Awesome.
in fact, if I was checking earlier to see back in my teenage days to see if there was anything left in there, I won't mention what that might be, but I didn't find anything.
I can just imagine what that might be, Bill.
It's a secret.
Oh,
The family show, guys. But anyways, it was, I should say.
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Actually, I am surprised how much I enjoyed the studio disc here. I've always loved the live record on this, but we're just talking about studio sides, obviously. I like it a lot more now than I used to, especially I've always liked Several Species. That was on a mixed cassette that a friend of mine made back in the 80s and thrown in with a bunch of odd songs. So I always had an appreciation for that weirdness. But really, the whole side with Richard Wright and Roger Waters, I think, is a lot of fun. Richard Wright on this, he's more of a Tony Banks kind of guy, usually pretty melodic rather than like a Keith Emerson. But on this, He's getting weird. He's getting kind of avant-garde, and I think it's really cool to see him do that because it's unusual for him. David's Narrow Way is nice. I mean, anytime I can hear David play, it's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
He's a wonderful guitarist. So Nick
He
Mason,
sold that black
art is
guitar of
fine.
his.
He what?
He auctioned all his guitars that he wrote all these albums.
Jeez,
Oh, wow.
you must have got a pretty
Yeah,
done.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's done.
Cool.
He's done
Okay.
enough. I have plenty of Gilmore to listen to. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this cover is awesome.
Good cover. It is. Yeah.
It is a
Especially,
good cover. It is a
yeah,
good cover. I'll say that.
It's easy to get lost in infinity there. Just
I don't. That must be Hypnosis too, right? Is that
Yeah.
Hypnosis? No.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. That's right.
Okay.
I'll tell you something about the Adam Hart Mother cover. You know the Def Leppard High and Dry album cover with the
Yeah.
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
diver? That was originally they were originally gonna use that picture, and then they picked the cow. And then
Oh.
also there was a banana commercial, I think in the UK, and they used one of the songs off of that album for the banana commercial.
Okay. All right. Well, you learn something new every day, right? I mean, I had no idea.
It was weird.
I had no idea.
Wasn't even Chiquita Banana either.
There you go. Okay, Brian, you're number 10.
Final Cut. I love it. It's good. It's got moments. I could actually identify with it. There's no skip tracks, but it wears on you. I think it's too long. If it was shorter, I think it'd be a better album. But I like again for what it is. I like Roger Waters' solo stuff as well, and this just kind of fits into that as well. With pros and cons of hitchhiking, and this would be like perfect end covers, bookend.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
So I kind of put those together like a double album. If I was listening to that, Radio Chaos or Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, I just think it's all the same album, just 3 records.
No, I get it. I understand. It's cool. Okay, Peter. Sorry, go ahead.
Some tracks. So Not Now, John. I love that song. There's a video for it, but I love that song. Yeah, and then even the Hero's Return, and they got the big rocket coming across, and then it's like mellow. I actually went through it again, and I thought that I was actually going to be done with it, and then I listened to it again. I was like, you know what? It's actually not that bad of an album. Consider I just listened to it a few months ago, thinking I was going to sell it. I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, cool.
I'll listen to it again, probably down the road within a week or two, anyway.
Yeah,
Good album.
that's what it is with albums. You listen to them for a while, you put them down, and then you pick them back up again.
But
Yeah.
this is
sometimes a year later.
This is a very depressing album compared to really some of the other ones where there's really not a lot of uplifting moments in it. So
No,
I
don't know if he's battling depression because he's already thinking the band's over and he's already moving on to the next. And I don't know if that's overwhelming for him. It just sounds like a very depressing record.
Yeah.
But it has very good moments and some really good guitar playing on it.
Yeah, true enough. True enough. Okay. Peter, your number 10.
Number 10, I went for Adam Hart Mother. Yeah, I like the suite a lot. The whole side one, love that. I also like Fat Old Son, the David Gilmour vocal on that one.
I
like that song, very good song. If I don't mind, not one of my favorites, it's okay. Summer 68, don't mind that either. Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast can take it or leave it, to tell you the truth. It's like Armando said, it is what it is. It's on the album. Yeah, but a couple of good moments and a couple of not so good moments, but a decent release, I would say. Yeah, number 10, Adam Hart Mother. Yeah.
That's my daughter. I have to take her out. Are we on 8? Can I just take a moment?
You can go on and do it.
I'm not being rude. She's got to go. Come on.
Okay. Well, Brian takes his daughter out. Okay. Andrew, what's your number 10?
Final cut. I don't like the fact that there's no Richard Wright on it, and Nick Mason only contributed a little bit to the album. It's a political album. It's in response to the Falklands War and has to do with England becoming more of a liberal country. And it just doesn't do a whole lot for me. I really think it could be a Roger Waters solo album. And it was one of the lowest selling Pink Floyd albums in the United States. So it didn't sell well.
Yeah. Yeah, there was I remember reading he had Michael Kamen playing keyboards for the album, and one day Michael Kamen was like transcribing some notes for a recording session, and Roger Waters just like yelled at him, like, "What are you doing? What are you writing?" You know, like, and he's like, "I'm just transcribing some notes for the session. Let me see what you're doing," kind of thing. Like, he was really upset with him. So yeah, it was not a good time to be in the band at all, right? Even as a hired hand. So
No, because Roger Waters and David Gilmour were fighting constantly.
oh yeah, no, they were at each other's
Yeah.
throats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ryan's number 10 is The Final Cut. So yeah, and these lists are quite similar. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're very close. Okay, I'm gonna bring up my list here. And sorry guys. My number 10 is Obscured by Clouds. I like the album as a whole. There's not really any tracks that stand out for me on this. And again, it's not really one I go back to a lot, but I really do need to dive into these albums again some more, right? So again, no pun intended. But yeah, that's my number 10, Obscured by Clouds.
My apologies.
No problem.
When nature
Okay.
calls, man, when she's got to go, it's right now. It's not like, oh, Mike's
I know the
going.
feeling. I know the
She's
feeling.
gotta go. Gotta go.
Okay, we're almost there, guys. Okay. Bill, you're number 9.
All right, my number 9. For some reason, I do not have a prop for. I'm going to remedy that. I just put it in my cart recently once I realized I cannot find more anywhere in my collection. And as it turns out, I actually like this thing quite a bit now. When I first started re-listening, I wasn't all that excited about it, but the more I listened to it, I really liked the experimental nature of it. I thought there was a lot of cool stuff on here that they didn't do anywhere else, even the little bits like Dave playing Spanish guitar and the cool little drum. What the heck is that? Let me see here. I have to look at my phone since I don't have an actual physical copy. Oh, the party sequence. The little bit with Nick and Rick complete. That was kind of a cool thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, just the fact that it is so atypical is the thing I like about it. Because some of this other stuff I've been listening to so much over the years, this is kind of fresh to me because I never spent a whole lot of time with this album. So a few years
good.
down the line, who knows? It may fall down again or it may rise even higher. But yeah, so far it looks like I'm the one that ranked it highest, so I must like it all right.
Cool.
It's a good album. It's good. I like playing it.
That's cool. All right. Brian sort of moved over in the configuration, so we're going to go to Brian for number 9.
Did I pick Amagama yet? No. Amagama. That's what I'm picking. And I like this. And I like Grantchester Meadows. And I like the acoustic stuff that they did on some of the on the new release. But I really love the live side. That's what I play the most. And I don't have the record yet, but I am looking for like an original press of one. So I hope to get one soon.
Cool.
I do listen to that quite a bit.
I like the fact that you had company in the picture right when you're talking about this particular thing here. Oh no, my bad. I was thinking of metal. I was thinking of Seamus.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, ass. Okay, cool. That's cool. All right. Peter, to number 9.
Number 9, I went for Obscured by Clouds. Number 9. I do like some of the stuff on here. Childhood's End, quite like that, and the gold that's in the song. The gold, it's in the
Yeah.
and a couple of instrumentals to start off. And yeah, I prefer it to more. I just prefer it to more, but not. I wouldn't call it a great album, but it's a decent average release for me. But yeah, pretty. It has some good spots, like I said, Childhood's in and the gold it's in the. But yeah, pretty good release. But yeah, number 9 for me, Obscured by Clouds. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. All right, Andrew. Number 9.
I went for Saucer Full of Secrets. I actually like this album. I'm a huge Sid Barrett fan, but I like number 3, which is the setting the controls for the Heart of the Sun. I love Band Blues because it sounds like Sid is just deteriorating it through the whole entire song and getting worse with his
Yeah.
condition of taking too much LSD. They actually uh after the recording they actually fired Sid because he would show up to the shows and just not play his guitar.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
he'd do that, or at some shows he wouldn't show up at all. So after this album, they pretty much fired him, and this is kind of where David Gilmour got into the band during this recording.
Cool.
That needed to be done. It needed to be done in order to continue
To
on.
continue, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they could have continued with Sid. He was going downhill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen footage of them with Sid and during like doing tapings for shows, like even miming, he would just stand there and not do anything during a taping. And it's like, you know what?
We've
You
seen
bring-
this before, and it was with Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon. We've seen that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's almost a doppelganger.
yeah. Okay. Ryan's number 9 is Saucer Full of Secrets. And again, no musical, like he hasn't written any tracks, so I'm just gonna go with what's on the list here. My list for number 9 is Metal. I've always loved One of These Days. It's a good way to, start off the album. It's a very strong track. A Pillow of Winds is cool. A Fearless I like. I mean, Echoes, come on. Side 2. I mean, bloody hell, right? Just a fantastic track. So that's my number 9. Bill,
All right.
number 8.
Hey, you forgave me for a momentary lapse reason. I'll forgive you for metal. So
Okay.
I'm going to go with the crowd on A Saucer Full of Secrets for my number 8. This is kind of like a momentary lapse reason in that I really love the first half, but the second half kind of slows down for me. Let There Be More Light, Remember a Day, Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. And I'm one of the apparently rare people who really does like Corporal Clegg. It's kind of Roger first getting into his commentary, shall we say, in a very primitive way, but also kind of funny too. It's yeah, I actually appreciate the dark humor of the song. But A Saucer Full of Secrets, I think again, that's one of those that's done so much better on the live version that comes out on Umagoma. So I can't help but hear that in my head whenever I play this album. So yeah, it's a good album, but here it stands mid-pack.
Cool. All right. Brian,
My
number
next-
8. Sorry, you're gonna
Yeah.
say something?
Yeah, no, my next one's Adam Hart Mother. I love it. I love everything about it. I think it's a great album. I like it's almost like that pub crawl anthematic You know what I mean? When they're doing the yeah, oh, right? When they're singing at the end.
Mhm.
More of the like the radio talkie stuff, talking
Yeah.
word, speaky word.
Cool.
I like the album as a whole, and again, with when it comes to certain tracks, it's more like the highlights of the album than it is like song titles. But, yeah,
Mhm.
every song offers something that's really unique. But this thing was all over the place. Um, as far as um, atmospheric and really experimental uh,
Mhm.
influences and background atmosphere. It's good. That
Mhm.
opened up my eyes a lot when I started listening to that when I was, I don't know, a long time ago.
Okay. Cool. That's cool. Okay, Peter, number 8. I think Peter's frozen.
Have I?
He's
Back
there.
now?
Yeah. Oh, you're back.
Hang on.
Okay.
Back.
All right, number 8. You're number 8.
Number 8, I went for A Momentary Lapse of Reason. I like a lot of the tracks on here, but mainly in the first half of the album. Learning to Fly, always like that. Remember seeing the clip back in the day. Dogs of War, not too bad. I like One Slip, though, that song, One Slip.
Yeah.
And On the Turning Away. It's quite a good, a great vocal from David Gilmour, too, on that one, On the Turning Away. And yeah, the second half, it slows down quite a bit, but I do like the last track, Sorrow. I think that's quite a good track. But yeah, a good album, but not a great album for me, but a pretty good album. Number 8, Momentary Lapse of Reason. Yeah.
I feel that's like a Gilmore equivalent of Roger Waters' Final Cut. I think that's
Yes,
more
It
of
is.
very much so. Yeah,
I would,
I think
I
it,
Very
would
much
agree.
so.
again,
I would agree.
bookends. One of
yeah,
each, and they're standing back to back, and they won't budge like a bunch of stubborn muggins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. I would agree.
That's always how I thought of that album, and I love it. It's got so
Mhm.
many highlights, but it's a very depressing album. It's very depressing.
yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
heavy. It's a darker
It
album.
is.
Yeah.
The
It's a
production
darker
on that
album.
is outrageous. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
the first time I heard it when it was brand new released, and I was like, "Whoa!" Because I liked everything else coming up, especially Momentary Lapse of Reason, which I really like that a lot. But
Yeah.
yeah, this one just blew my head off. I was like, "He is
Mhm.
so moody. He is an angry man."
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right.
All kinds of war references, all war.
Yeah.
Thing between,
Mhm.
that's the thing between these two.
Yeah.
One's peace and love, and the other one's like war and hate. And I think that's really the static that they had going on with each other. To be honest,
Yeah. Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
collaboration.
Yeah. And the fact, well, we'll carry on, but the fact that according to Gilmore, Waters to him was too political. Everything
Yeah.
was very politically motivated, and
Oh,
it turned off Gilmore quite a bit. Okay, Andrew, you're number 8.
I'm gonna go with Momentary Lapse of Reason. I like this album. It brings back memories. I went to the tour in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a great show. This was a huge album for them on MTV. I remember Learning to Fly and Dogs of War was all over MTV.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was.
the first album without Roger Waters, and
Then they
Gilmore
released.
actually employed Carmen Appice and Jim Keltner to play drums on the
Wow.
album because Nick Mason said he was out of practice, so he got
Yeah.
them to perform, and the sessions were. I remember when they were recording this, they were in legal fight with Roger Waters, so the sessions kept getting interrupted, and
Yeah.
it was. I know this album part of it was recorded on David Bowie on David Gilmour's Boathouse,
Yeah. The
the Astoria.
Astoria. Yeah.
That's when the band camp started separating, and then it was Waters or Gilmore, and that's really where
Yeah.
it came right down like
Yeah.
the hatchet. It was
Mm.
really unfortunate because there was a lot of people that loved Pink Floyd as a whole that just stopped
Yeah.
listening to them altogether. Just like, I'm done with this, done.
Mhm.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, it was in with Kurt oh, Kurt Roder, whatever, Kurt Roder from MTV News or whatever. It was over.
Loader.
Kurt Loder. Kurt Loder.
This one's getting
Kurt
sued.
Loder.
That one's suing this one back.
Yeah.
This one's in court. This one's taking this one to court. It was nuts. And then even Richard Wright, he was stuck in the middle of all that, trying to get his
Yeah.
rights back from the wall. Still,
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy what they did to the fans.
No, I know. I know. Okay.
They made them rabid. They made them like rabid haters. They really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Okay.
I
Number
remember
8
all that.
for
It was
Ryan.
just like, it was too much. Too much drama.
All right, guys. Number 8 for Ryan is The Wall. Ryan, we need to talk. Seriously.
You're gonna owe us
Um,
lunch.
Seriously, we need to talk, Ryan, after the show. But that's his choice. Ryan has said that he likes parts of The Wall, but he doesn't like the whole thing. Like it's too much of a Roger Waters show, right? Of The Wall.
It was.
So yeah.
If you had taken, like, it's a double album, but if you had taken just I don't know, maybe I don't know, people call it filler, but I call it feel. If you had taken a lot of that, I don't think the album would have worked if you just tried to make it one.
Oh, would not.
album.
No, I don't
One
see how you
single
could,
name.
but we'll get into
Even-
that in a bit.
Even
We'll get into-
the record companies, they didn't like it. They were like, we asked for an album. We didn't ask for this
Yeah, but
freaking
it sold well.
concept album. We didn't ask for this, and they gave it to him. Like, well, here you go.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Okay, guys. We'll do my number 8, and then we're gonna pause, and we're gonna come back for part 2. So my number 8 is Endless River. I like it. I don't love it. I liked it better when I first heard it. And lots of nice instrumental, incidental music. The fact that there's only one track with vocals, louder than words.
Yeah.
A word to David Gilmour: do not try and talk slang. I know Paulie Sampson wrote the lyrics, but do not try and sing slang. You diss and you fight. You know what? Don't do that. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. So for me,
Yeah.
number 8 is Endless River. So guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause because we're basically old men and we need a bathroom break. So we are going to be back. We are going to be back for part 2. So stay tuned for that. And we're back for part 2 of our Pink Floyd album ranking. So in the first part we did 15 to 8, and we had to take a bit of a break because we're all human. We need to use the bathroom, get a drink. Told you it was going to be a long one, so here we go. So in part 2, we're going to do album 7 to 1. So starting off again with Mr. Bill Schuster.
All right, thank you, Armando. There's definitely a gap. My bottom 7 or my bottom 8 and my top 7. There's a noticeable gap because these top 7, they're not quite interchangeable, but they're not super far apart.
Mm-hmm.
But they each exist to serve different purposes. They're very different albums. So it was hard to rank some of these because depending on any given day or my mood, they could have gone up 3, 4, 5 spaces or down the same. So anything from here on out, I love it, top to bottom. Final Cut is number 7, though. I am a big fan of political lyrics, and I especially love Roger's lyrics. So this is right up my alley. And I think I get why a lot of people don't like this album musically, because it's a lot more subtle musically. Not Now John's really the only banger on it. And frankly, that's one of my least favorite songs on the album just because it doesn't seem to fit so well.
And your bird agrees.
The album. I think it interrupts the flow toward the end.
I think it brings it up. And then bring it back down.
I mean, I do get that, but it just kind of stands out a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the last track on the Endless River. I think that one should have just been all instrumental rather than having that one.
Yeah.
Why are you there to break the flow kind of track.
Yeah, I do. I hear what you're saying about that. That's true.
I forgot that the original did not have When the Tigers Broke Free. I used to have my original was on cassette, but I've gotten so used to having this CD copy all these years that When the Tigers Broke Free kind of became a part of it. So I tried listening without that song again, and I kind of prefer it without When the Tigers Broke Free. It's a good song, but I like the flow better without it.
It's on Echoes, that double CD that flows within that. It fits well in that.
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah.
That's the only way I have it. That's the only version I have of it.
Yeah, I'm glad to have it, but not necessary for this album. My justification for ranking this low is because there's no Rick and there's barely any Nick, really. I mean, he's kind of there, but
he's there, but he's not there.
Yeah.
In spirit.
I don't care
He's
if
only
it's Pink
special.
Floyd or Roger Solo. It's a very fine album.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Brian, you moved again.
Did it? Oh,
You're number 7. No, it's
with the
fine.
rotation.
No, it's fine.
I'm picking Division Bell. I saw them on this tour and I was blown away, and I didn't hear the album yet. I didn't even hear the album. I knew I was going to the concert, and it was quite an experience. I went with a group of my friends that I went to the Grateful Dead with in '92 to go see Jerry Garcia, and we did 4 days in the Meadowlands, Jersey. It was a nightmare. But met so many people and went with a huge group of us. But I bought one ticket. You know, we took one car, 4 people. I bought my ticket. When I got there, I saw all the same people. So there were like 20, 25 of us, and we're all sitting together, like one row, and then the front row in front of us. So they had the big crystal ball, and they had all the disco lights and all that stuff. It was great, but you couldn't see the band. They had their back towards us when we saw them at Foxborough Stadium, which is in Massachusetts. That's where the Patriots play.
Mhm.
And oh man, everything about that album is good. It's moody, so again, you gotta pick a time and a day and a thing. It's not something you just pick and throw on and go about your business. That's something that's like, oh, am I in the mood for that? Am I in the mood for this? Because I think it's depressing.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
But it was, I was blown away, and they opened up with Astronomy Domain, and so they did that, and then they had like the old '60s with the liquid swirl thing on the.
I saw the same tour. Yeah.
Whoo! Yeah, I was blown away, and I think they started phenomenal that night, but I think the light show was really the whole encompassing
The whole
of the
thing,
evening.
yeah.
You know, the energy in the place was crazy too. But I mean, just being surrounded again with all these people I've met before, as opposed to meeting with strangers or smoking with the next stranger next to me, which is like, hey, I went to school with you. Hey, I remember you. Hey, we used to hang out and skateboard. Hey, we used to do this or ride bikes. It's like, where the hell do you people come from?
Yeah. I get that.
So it was a party experience. It was great. We didn't even tailgate. We pulled in, went right in. We weren't messing around.
Yeah, I know
But,
what you mean. I saw them just quickly, and then we'll keep going. I saw them on the Division Bell tour, and when they started the show, it was still daylight, like it was still light outside. It was like 8 o'clock.
here.
So
Same here.
the lighting effects didn't have the same impact
Until after, right?
after the sun went down. So it started out with a bit of it started out slow, but when the sun went down and the lighting effects took effect, it was just like you were just like, shocked, right? I mean, it was amazing. But no, I get what you're saying.
I'll never forget that tour. I'll never forget that show. Man, I was pretty in outer space myself, but I'll never forget it. I remember the set list. I remember exactly who I was sitting with. I remember exactly what happened after. I remember exactly getting home. It was a good night.
Yeah, well, I remember what happened that night too, but we won't go into that right now because it's a family show. So I can't get into it.
It's a family show.
Okay. Peter. You're number 7.
Number 7. Number 7, The Division Bell. A lot of good songs on this. Obviously, my favourite one with the David Gilmour led lineup. Lost for Words, I like. High Hopes, really good track. Keep Talking. What Do You Want From Me? Beautiful instrumental, Marooned. Really nice instrumental.
Mhm.
And yeah, just a fine album. Couple of songs not so big on, but by and large, it flows nicely. And I think easily for me, the best David Gilmour album. So number 7, The Division Bell. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Andrew, number 7.
Same album, Division Bell. I went to the tour in Washington, D.C. and loved it.
That's 3. That's 3.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs on this album deal with communication. I love What Do You Want From Me, High Hopes, and Take It Back. To me, this sounds more like a Pink Floyd album than Momentary Lapse of Reason.
Yeah.
So that's why I like it a little better.
Sure does.
And that's my pick. Other than the fact that Robert Waters considers this a rubbish album, but I think he considered everything after what he did as a rubbish album. So
Yeah, well, at the risk of, and I'm sorry if I cut you off, Andrew. At the risk of getting myself in trouble with Roger Waters fans, he needs to get out of his own way. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna
Hey,
say.
that new reissue that he did of Dark Side of the Moon, oh man, that is just a dog shit sandwich, man. That is dog shit all day. I can't even get through like the first 2 songs. I tried. I couldn't even get through it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna listen to Tom Waits. I'm not doing it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that album, the Dark Side of the Moon redo, is coming out on October the 6th. Bill and I are going to be doing a reaction video to the album when it comes out.
Oh, that'll be good.
Stay tuned
I
for
couldn't
that.
get through 2 songs, man. I couldn't get through it. I couldn't do it.
I haven't heard any of it yet. So now I'm kind of leery. I don't like the taste of dog shit. At least I don't think I do. So
Anyways, okay, moving on. We must move on, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
Here we
fine.
go.
Everything tastes better with ketchup.
Thanks, Brian. Ryan's number 7 is Wish You Were Here.
Wow.
Wow.
Wait till you see his number 1.
I've been keeping track of what he hasn't said so far. He's going to owe us a lunch. He's going to owe us all pizza.
got to remember, Ryan is a lot younger than we are.
Yeah,
So
Ryan
yeah,
is
whole different
26.
perspective.
So
Yeah.
my number 7, ladies and gentlemen, is A Momentary Lapse of Reason. I remember when this came out, I bought the vinyl. The singles, Learning to Fly, Dogs of War, On the Turning Away, Sorrow, all those. It's a good album. It's just, oh my God, how do I put this diplomatically? It's an album of its time in terms of the musicianship on it. I mean, I like it. I just don't love it. I mean, he worked with Bob Ezrin on this as producer, and he worked with for writing songs. He worked with Patrick Leonard, who worked with Madonna. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So I mean, it's a good album. I do think it's an album of its time. I have the later years box set with the remix of sound like I'm drunk, but I'm not. The remix of Momentary Lapse of Reason with the live drums. So I'll stick with that. But it's a good album. It's just not my favorite. So yeah, that's my number 7. So we are moving on to number 6, and Mr. Bill Schuster.
All right, this is the other item that apparently I no longer have a physical copy of, which I will remedy. Adam Hart Mother is my number 6, and it's ranked much higher than I expected it to be. I really, really enjoyed this when revisiting it, especially the suite. In fact, I probably would have ranked it even higher, but I docked points because Ron Geeson is so vital to the suite itself. I think without him, it would have been something quite a bit different. So it's not fully a Pink Floyd song, so
Yeah.
to speak. It's wonderful, but hey, I got to split hairs in here somewhere to separate some of these albums. So that's
Right.
my reasoning for putting it down lower than a couple of these others. But I thought it was cool. I noticed in Adam Hart Mutter in the suite itself, I noticed foreshadowing of Any Color You Like from Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh wow.
So next time you listen for that. And yeah, once I heard it, I couldn't unhear it.
Mm.
It's almost like they went back and plagiarized themselves when they recorded Dark Side.
They did
I
it
like
on
the
Animals.
three.
They
Yeah,
borrowed a lot of things from before on Animals.
as did Steven Wilson, but that's another story.
Right.
Um, I like the three individual songs, the Rick, the Dave, and the Roger songs. Uh, the Roger and Dave are as expected. They're both quite nice, but really, I think the fun one is Summer '68 by Rick. It's kind of a weird song. And again, that's what I like about it. It's like Rick, he's usually so mellow and unassuming when he comes out with this weird stuff. I think it's pretty neat. Alan Psychedelic Breakfast, I listen to the musical parts and it kind of reminds me of the bits of Umaguma. I think that would have fit in there without the spoken word bits. So I enjoyed it for what it is. Yeah, it's not a great track, but it works well, works fine for the flow of the album, I think. So yeah, number 6, Adam Hart Mother.
Cool.
A lot of the music that I listen to, they use that like sampling with the like radios and stuff, and it's usually heavier music, but people talking, and it's usually political, and it's usually something religious or something that accord. Yeah. So that actually, I don't know if that influenced what's going on now, but a lot of people a lot of the heavier bands are doing it now because half of them can't sing, or you can't understand.
Religion is good, taken in moderation.
I
So,
will say a lot of the heavier bands, the one band that a lot of those people can agree on that is not so heavy is Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
A lot of the metal guys love Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
mhm.
I think it spans a lot of different generations, really.
Well,
Yeah.
You know, I think it spans almost every generation.
I was just gonna say, I think Pink Floyd's music set the template for a lot of the bands from today, like the hard rock bands, or they're
Sabbath.
looked at as inspiration for a lot of bands. So, and I
Yeah.
can see
Yeah,
why.
one band probably it takes a bit from Miss Tool, a little bit. I could see quite a bit of Pink Floyd in them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tool actually covered "Comfortably Numb," and then they did "No Quarter" too by Zeppelin.
cool.
Yes. Yeah.
I like Tool because it's prog. I didn't even know what prog was. I just like the
Mm.
music, especially with Pink Floyd. And then like I said,
Mm.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know it was progressive. I really didn't even know that term. I called it rock and roll.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, just as a footnote, I've been thinking about getting the Tool catalog and getting into Tool, and
Oh, you should. It's good. Good stuff.
I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be doing that.
Yeah.
So, but we must carry on, guys. Brian, your number.
I'll talk to you about Tool. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. Tool's actually, they just announced a tour because Maynard's in 2 other bands, Pussifer and Perfect Circle. They're all going on tour together with Primus. Primus is opening up. And who knows? They might do 2112, the whole album. Who knows?
Cool.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That'd be something to watch. But they just announced it, so it's not till 2024.
Cool. That'd be good. All right. We must carry on, ladies and gentlemen. Brian, your number 7. I almost lost track there.
I said Division Bell. So it's going to be Momentary Lapse of Reason, which I love this album. It's not the remix, right? Because the reissue, it's got the flying hang glider guy, right? So got this for $5, $5 shipping, $10. And I was like, I can't live without it, and I love it. Learning to Fly, Signs of Life, Dogs of War, One Slip, on the Turning Away, I lost my father 7 years ago, and this and I Know You're Out There by the Moody Blues. He's got like I have certain songs for him that I used to drive him crazy with when he was alive. So yeah, so it always reminds me of him. But Yet Another Movie, which is on this one. They don't play it on the DVD. I mean, I'm sorry, on the VHS. I don't know if it's on the remix because they have a 4K now and all this stuff. But I got the VHS. But if you get the soundtrack, because I had the cassettes, it's on that. It's on the cassette. It's not on the CD or whatever it is.
Yeah, cool.
That's just the thing. But yeah, there's a lot of hits off of this. And I don't. It goes by quick, because the songs are familiar, so it scoots by, under the radar. If you just put it on, want to hear a couple of hits, but then you're flipping it over so you can hear the rest of it too. It's a good album. I like it.
Oh, cool. All right. Peter, you're number 7.
6, I think it is 6, is it?
6 or 7?
Yes.
6.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're
Number 6.
Sorry.
Metal. I love One of These Days, the instrumental, and Echoes. It's a masterpiece song for me. Just takes you on a journey. It's got on the record. It's all the one side of the album. It'd be a top 5 Pink Floyd song for me. And the middle is probably not as good for me, but I don't mind Pillow of Winds, and Seamus is not to be taken too seriously. I don't think it's fun. It's cute.
Yeah.
I like Saint Tropez. It's a nice bouncy sort of jazzy type track. And Fearless is a good one too. So yeah, pretty good most of the time. And yeah, but Echoes and One of These Days are the standouts for me. Number 6 metal. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Echoes is just epic. That's my
wonderful,
favorite
isn't
song.
it?
Out of every single thing they've ever released, Echoes is my favorite song, and I listen to it at least once a week at some point.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, it calms me right the hell down. It just calms me down. I just, everything that I've been submerged in for the week, it dissipates. It's gone in 20 minutes.
Terrific.
Go to sleep with a happy face.
Cool. No, and that's what music's supposed to do, right? So.
Oh yeah. Clear your head.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize. We're on number 6. I made a mistake. It's been a long day. There was going to be one major screw up during the show, and that is it. So,
is it Ryan?
For now.
Is it Ryan again?
No.
Ryan.
No. Andrew.
I'm going to go with Animals. I like the album, but it's an album I want to listen to start to finish. They did not put out any singles out of this album. I did recently see Roger Waters about a year ago, and he did do Sheep from this album. So
nice.
I do like things like Pigs on a Wing, and I like Sheep. And this is where the famous Flying Pig came from this album.
Yep.
Because of the cover. When I saw Roger Waters, he did have the Flying Pig, so that was pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
I do like this album, but it's an album I have to sit down and listen to from start to finish.
Yeah,
I just can't listen to one song. I have to start it and then continue listening.
And even if I want to hear like a deep track, if it's on the the 4th or 3rd song or whatever, or even it's not on the backside, I'll play the whole album all the way through just so that
play the whole album definitely.
Yes,
Yeah, and Andrew, we saw Bob and I saw Roger Waters on the tour last year. It was amazing. It was amazing.
He's phenomenal. Yeah, on concert.
It was
puts on a great show.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And he actually thanked people for holding on to the tickets from 2 years ago for this show because COVID hit, right? So we couldn't go.
Oh, COVID,
so he took about 5 minutes out and thanked everybody for holding on to their tickets and being patient with him for turning up. So you know what? It was a really good show. So Ryan's number 6 is, and Ryan, we really gotta talk. Obscured by Clouds. Okay. I gotta get my list here. Okay, because I got 2 lists going here. Okay, my number 6 is the Division Bell. Okay. I love this album when it came out. I saw them on this tour. I should quickly say, this was the summer of 94. I saw 5 concerts in 3 months. I saw Pink Floyd, I saw the Eagles, I saw the Stones, I saw Rod Stewart, Phil Collins, and Reba McEntire.
Awesome. I love her.
So,
I got her records.
So yeah, Division Bell. I mean, every song for me is good, but the highlights are High Hopes, Pulls Apart, Take It Back, the single Take It Back, Cluster 1, Marooned.
Marooned.
They're all good. And Roger Waters saying, "Oh, this is not a real Pink Floyd album." Screw that. It's a Pink Floyd album. You know what I mean? I love Roger Waters. I know he's musically really talented, but he has to get out of his own way and deal with shit.
Sure does.
So that's my number 6. Bill.
All right. I've been
Number
texting back and forth with Roger's legal team, and I've been noting all the commentaries. All right, not really.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will be arrested after the show.
Knock on the door.
I did say I'm a Roger fanboy, but yeah, I get why people have issues with Roger. Roger is awful proud of himself. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
My number 5. Once upon a time, this was my number 1, and I was kind of surprised to see it fall this far. I still absolutely love it, and I agree with what you gentlemen said. It's a start to finish listen. Animals. But this is one of those. It's absolutely not an everyday listen. When I am in the proper state of mind for this, there's nothing quite like dogs to help me release my particular anger. And yeah, it's very cathartic.
I know you can start your own mosh pit with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
These are some of the darkest lyrics, and it's really kind of a depressing album, to say the least. But
they released that on a remastered on, I don't know, is it 2019? It was just a couple of years ago. And
but it was for
the remix. Yeah.
I have a copy waiting for me, so I gotta finish paying it off.
I heard it. It's a good remix.
I want it. Yeah, I want it.
It is.
I'm glad I don't have it yet, because I keep hearing all these beautiful things about it. Like, everything's up in the front. All this stuff that was in the back is like you could hear everything now, and it's a headphone album. Is what
it's a headphone album.
Only criticism. Sorry, guys. The only criticism that I hear about Animals, and I have to agree about the remix. It's a 2018 remix. Do you know what I mean? Like the argument was, it was between Waters and Gilmore. Big surprise there. Over liner notes.
Yin and yang.
Over one line in the liner notes. I don't want this in. I want this in. I don't want that. You know what, guys? I love you dearly, but listen, Gilmore, Waters, change your diaper, get a bottle of milk, take your teddy bear, and go to bed. You're grown men, and you're fighting over one line of text in your liner notes. Stupid. I'm sorry. It is, my opinion.
That was the album with the tour that he was getting spit on. People kept showing up with fireworks and all this kind of crap, and they were doing all this crap. That's when he started disassociating himself with the audience. He
spit on the fan.
I mean,
and then the wall was being built. The wall was coming into fruition.
Yeah,
and then
I understand all that. I understand all that, but there comes a time when you got to say, you know what, enough is enough. I mean, to fight over one line of text in your liner notes for an album is a bit ridiculous.
Whichever one dies last will get the last word.
Well, there was a thing too that David Gilmour wrote a song for that, and he said it was actually was Have a Cigar, and I think it was on that tour, I believe. I believe it was. And he said, "Oh, if you want to go sing your song, we'll let you go sing your song." #1 radio hit. That
Okay.
sold more. No, wait, I'm sorry. I think Another Brick in the Wall 2 actually blew that out of the water for sales as a
Yeah.
single.
Oh yeah, that was number one.
I had to think for a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, guys.
So
we're gonna-
much.
ladies and gentlemen, we must carry on. Okay. Brian, what's your next one?
We're number 5, right?
Number 5.
Animals. Yeah, animals. Animals. I love everything about it. And I remember buying it, and I was like, well, there's only like 6 songs on this, but metal, kind of the same thing. Again, I didn't know what prog was. I was like, oh, they must be a really long songs, which it's really it was, but with the nuances, and then you have a lot of breaks and interludes and things that kind of really ate up a lot of the album. But I love everything for what it represents, and I love everything that they actually recycled some of their older material on, but it made it, I guess, fresher if you're trying to get in new ears,
Yeah.
younger generation, and then
Yeah.
it still appease the older fans too. So I think that was a double hit with that album, recycling things and retweaking some ideas. And I think that album is just a 10/10. There's no skip tracks on it. I love, just like Andrew said, there's sheep, there's dogs, there's dogs too. I love how it breaks down in the middles and gives you these interludes and stuff. Just a lot of deep atmosphere,
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, yeah, that's a great album. And it almost made my #1, but I after listening, I was like, I can't. So
yeah, I think Animals is quite high on most people's lists.
it is. And and that's one of them. As they're doing the division, that's actually uniting everybody into the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And they were having problems, and then they wouldn't even record in the same studio at the same time with this thing. And this is when they started shutting out the press. They weren't doing interviews. They weren't doing video. They weren't doing anything.
They were silent.
Any access to anything. And you know what? A lot of people crapped on this album because they wouldn't allow them this access for a media. You know what I mean? So people were more frustrated with not knowing what's going on with the band, as opposed to just taking the music for what it is and just write a different soliloquy about it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah. But Animals is the one that it started destroying the band. And the production too. Never mind the production. Money. There was money problems. Then they owed million. I think they owed $12 million. And the Wall production didn't even happen yet.
Yeah, that's true.
They had to pay everything they made from Dark Side of the Moon was paying for that. So they actually didn't make any money off of that album. And that's the most #1 selling album, I think, of all time. Next to Thriller from Michael Jackson.
True.
Crazy the things in history with this band. It's the world is your oyster, but you better eat it when it's fresh. These guys were sucking on some sour, pearls.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, Peter. Yeah, number 5.
Number 5. I'm a bit with Bill on this one. The Final Cut. I love The Final Cut. It gets a lot of crap from people, I know. It is depressing. I agree. It's depressing. But just got a lot of standout songs for me. But I would say Not Now, John doesn't really fit in well with the album, but I like the song. I love the title track. Very emotive vocals from Roger. The Fletcher Memorial Home, love that. Southampton Dock. The Gunner's Dream is great. I love The Gunner's Dream.
Yes.
Your Possible Pasts, good one. Yeah, I pretty much probably in the minority, but yeah, I've always loved this album. Not in my top 4, but yeah, after the first 4, I'd put in about 5. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
At least the production's good for a crappy album. For
Yes,
the haters. At least the production's good. So
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
true.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
true. Okay, Andrew, number
I'm
5.
gonna take some flack for this one. I'll take some flack for this, but it's The Wall. I like it, but it's one of those ones where I have to listen to start to finish. I do like some of the singles, but it's sold. The record company didn't want to put out the double album, but it sold 30 million copies. So it's one of the best. It's probably number 2 best selling in Pink Floyd uh, catalog. Uh, I like the movie also, but it's kind of dark. Uh, and I like the concept of it, that it's a rock opera, that it explores a jaded rock star who eventually self-imposed isolation from society and forms a figurative wall. So I like that part. I like Another Brick in the Wall. I like Run Like Hell. I like Comfortably Numb. I like Mother. There's a lot of songs I like about this, but that's what I picked was The Wall. I bought it when it came out and I had it on album. Now I have it on CD, and I must have played it. I don't know how many times. I think I wore out my needle.
It's easy
I
to
was
do
9
that
years old.
album. So,
I was 9 years old when that released, and I bought the cassette with my own paper route money. I bought that, and it was expensive because it was a double. It was a double
Double CD,
cassette.
double album. Yeah.
yeah,
The double cassette. This is before
how about
CD.
that?
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's a good album, but we'll get I'll, we'll get more on that later. Okay. um, Ryan's number 5 is Amagama.
Ooh,
He likes the old stuff. Hey, I kind of like
yeah.
this Ryan guy now. I might
Yeah.
have to buy him a pizza.
Mm. We got to continue, guys. My number 5 is The Final Cut. Um, you know, some people call it the continuation of The Wall. I mean, the story goes was that, Roger Waters, by this point, his control of the band was absolute. He wanted to record these tracks, and Gilmour's response was, well, if these tracks weren't good enough for The Wall, what makes you think they're good enough now? Like, what's changed? So, but I mean, I like the album. When Then Tigers Broke Free, The Fletcher Memorial Home, The Post-War Dream. I do agree with Bill that, I mean, Not Now John being the single, it does kind of stand out on the album. I mean, it's good, but the other tracks for me are stronger. So, yeah, that's my number 5, The Final Cut. So, moving on, Bill.
Right. We're going for Metal at number 4. And yeah, I had to split hairs again to fit this in here. I ranked this lower than the next 3, mainly because of Seamus, though I agree with Peter. It's a fun song, and it's short enough that it doesn't really overstay its welcome. And it's a nice palate cleanser before Echoes. So I think it works well there. But again, have to find some excuse to rank one a little bit higher or lower than the others. And Seamus is the excuse I'm using here. But I really like the whole album. So yeah, it's yeah, and I agree with Echoes. I don't know if it's my favorite Pink Floyd song, but it's very close, if not. It is a wonderful journey, and I love the Rick and Dave vocal harmonies on that song. It's great. I missed when Rick stopped singing after Dark Side. His presence was missed greatly.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah, Metal.
Yep.
Well, that's a
Nailed
good
it.
one.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
That's a good one. Okay, Brian, you number 4.
My number 4 is Wish You Were Here, which I like. The whole album's perfect. Have a Cigar, which I know Primus did a cover of, which was a good homage to that.
Mhm.
Everything about it is just moody. Even the keyboards. Shine on You, Crazy Diamond is right up there with some of my favorite riffs and music that they've released. I don't think what else was on that. I don't have it in front of me, so I don't have the tracks. But the whole album is, I don't know, perfect, and I like the little interludes in between. And
Yeah.
but it's a good flow of an album, and that's something you can throw on, and it'll be over before you turn around because it's so engrossing. Very
Yeah.
lovely album. The
Yeah.
production on beautiful. Again, I'm looking to hunt it down on record, and I want to get the remaster. I hope that I can get that.
Cool. That's a good choice. Okay, Peter, you're number 4.
Number 4, I went for The Wall. Number 4. People say it should have been a single album. I don't agree. I think it works fantastic as a double album.
Yep.
Has got those little snippets in between the songs, those little short tracks. But it's got so many great songs, like Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, Mother. It's a great song. Nobody Home, really good song. Comfortably Numb with the great guitar solo.
Another Brick in the Wall.
Young Lust, it's a good rocker. Yeah, pretty good. Probably for me on the 4th side of the album, it slows down a bit, but by and large, I think it's still a masterpiece of an album. And yeah, definitely one of the great double albums for me. Number 4, yeah. 4, yeah.
Cool. Good choice.
Mhm.
Good choice. Okay. Andrew, you're number 4.
Is Metal. I like this album definitely because of number 6, which is Echoes, and number 1, which is One of These Days. I could listen to Echoes every day. I think
Yeah.
it's a great song.
Yep.
And this also shows that in this album, it shows the shaping force that David Gilmour became or was becoming.
Mhm.
And album got a lot of positive reviews, and I love listening to this album. I probably listen to it at least a couple times a month. So just because of Echoes and One of These Days. So that's my choice.
We have a lot in common with that.
Cool.
I love that song. I love Echoes.
Mm,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Ryan's number 4 is Piper at the Gates of Dawn. He loves psychedelic stuff, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Probably a Beatles fan.
He
What's
is
wrong with that?
actually. He is. My
I
number
am too.
4,
I got
guys.
everything.
My number 4 is Animals. Fantastic album. I first heard songs like Sheep and Dogs on the Echoes compilation disc. And those were the edited versions, okay? And it's like,
Was that the like the form of dancing, like the great love song the dancing love songs or whatever it was?
no,
Collection of great
Sheep
dance songs.
Yeah, I don't have
songs to
that.
dance to. No. Great songs to dance to, or something like that. No.
I
The
never owned it.
the
But it's on.
Echoes double the one that you mentioned, the greatest hits, the double CD.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was the first time I heard Sheep, and I loved it.
I bought that in Arkansas, and I had a rental car, and I had a
Mm.
CD player, and I had no CDs. So I stopped at a Walmart that was 24, and that was the first thing I grabbed. I was like, "Oh, double record, okay, here we
Cool.
go." And that's the thing I listened to while I was driving home.
So yeah, no, this is a fantastic album. I mean, with only 6 tracks. I mean, dogs, sheep, pigs, 3 different ones. You know, Dogs is just amazing. You know, the original title was Raving and Drooling. Just this whole album is fantastic. I mean, it's a darker album, but it's top notch for me. So that's my number 4. Bill, you number 3.
Right. I felt kind of basic and boring with my top three choices because these three albums are the ones that rock radio stations have been killing for the last 40 to 50 years. You know? But
Who listens to the radio?
I
Real
haven't for
music
over
isn't
20
on the
years,
radio.
but I'm
I
sure
don't
they're
listen to the
still killing
radio.
them. Yeah, these I already knew what number one was going to be, and I stuck with that. But these two could have been switched. It came down to the wire. Number three is "Wish You Were Here," and yeah, it's a perfect album. I can't complain about anything here. I found it interesting that someone from the United Kingdom last year I had seen on a video talked about how apparently "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" is played to death in the UK,
No, it's
but here in the
is.
States, I found back when I was still listening to the radio, it was just the opposite. "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," both parts were the only songs from this album that were not played to death.
Yeah.
Have
I
a
agree.
Cigar, Welcome to the Machine, and Wish You Were Here were played constantly. So
Yeah.
it's
The classic rock-
interesting.
The classic
to hear
rock
those,
radio here has replaced Pink Floyd with Guns N' Roses. So
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh
We're-
God.
we're done. We're done. See you later.
Yeah.
No radio. Too bad. They play other good stuff.
Yeah.
I do think, yeah, aside from what's played on the radio, "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" probably is what I enjoy the most at this point. It was "Welcome to the Machine" when I was younger, but I just love the
through eight.
build.
Yeah.
The band playing, especially Gilmore in particular,
Mhm.
on this album is just absolutely brilliant. The mood that he sets.
Yeah.
Can I interject for a
Cover's
second?
pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Do you have this? This is Roger Waters.
Oh yeah,
In the flesh, and he does "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" 1 through 8 all through it live, and most of this is Animals, some wall stuff, but it's mostly like metal, like set the tone, the heart for the sun, set the
Yeah.
controls for the sun. Yeah, that like he plays a lot of the deeper tracks in here.
yeah,
And,
that's a good set.
Yeah. I think I've got the CD of that.
And then he's got his Radio Chaos tracks too in Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, some of the tracks off of that. But I don't know if you'd seen it. This was an awesome buy, and I bought it because they actually do Astronomy to Mine on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've got the CD version, I think, of that. I've got so much shit in the basement. I don't know what I got anymore. It's like, okay. Brian, you're number three.
My number 3 is metal all day. I love metal. I play it a lot. I play it at least once a week if I can, because it's a short album for me. It's short. So just for echoes.
Cool.
And then the rest of it, One of These Days, which I love because I'm a huge Doctor Who nerd. I just love what they did with that song. I love the way the structure is. It speaks to me.
That's good. That's good. No, it's a good choice.
Yeah, you guys have already said all the good stuff about it already. So but yeah, that's a solid album. That's almost like a desert island album. If I had to pick 5, I probably couldn't live without it. I'd probably pick it over The Wall, actually.
Okay. That's high praise. Okay. That's high praise. All right, Peter, you're number 3.
Number 3, I'm going to go Animals. Such a great
Yeah.
album.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, he's frozen.
He'll come back. Uh-oh.
The whole sessions, he was running
There he is.
everything. Great bookends with just amazing dogs with the great guitar work from Gilmore and the vocals. Just a great track. Pigs 3 different ones. I love the outro, the solo at the end of the song. It goes into the solo and Pigs 3 different ones.
Yeah.
And Sheep is awesome. Probably my favorite song on the album would be Sheep, but everything about it is really good. I thought about putting this at 2, but I didn't at the last minute. So I'll leave it at 3. Animals.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you froze there for a little bit there, Peter, but we got you back. So
You got me?
We can
Oh,
hear you.
okay.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
could
no,
hear
we
you.
can. Yeah, we
You
could
didn't
hear you,
skip.
but we couldn't. You froze. So, but it's fine. It's fine. With Peter's connection, that usually what happens, right? It's usually what happens with the
Okay.
shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised I'm hanging on because I got nothing but rain and flooding and thunderstorms and all kinds of stuff going on inside.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Andrew, you're number 3.
Number 3 is Dark Side. Probably a surprise for a lot of people, but I love this album, but it's played to death. And I do like it. I like the fact that each side is like a continuous piece of music. It's critically acclaimed. Uh, it's a total concept album. Each song has its own concept in it. I love it on headphones. And this is when they brought out and they used an EMS3, VCS3 synthesizer. They used this
Yep.
that one on this one, and they used it on Wish You Were Here. So
Yep.
they
They
did
they
that.
moved on to
And
analog, right? The technology
yeah,
finally caught up with what they were trying to vision, right?
they're trying to do. And I love the cover. It's iconic. And I
Mhm.
also like the fact that Alan Parsons was the engineer on the album
Yes, good
because I love
catch.
Alan Parsons.
Yeah.
So
I was
Yeah.
going to
yep,
bring it up too. Yeah, yep,
yep.
yep.
So that's my choice.
No, it's cool. It's
And
cool.
they also use looping in it too, which I really like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And remember they had those speakers that had the inside revolutions.
Yeah,
Remember?
they did. Yeah, they
You
had
remember
that. Yeah.
Lenny Kravitz ended up buying all that. He bought all that
Yeah, I
equipment.
know. I heard someone had bought all that
And he bought
equipment.
all the stuff from the Beatles too, like the board and all that. That was Lenny
Mhm.
Kravitz.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
I don't even think he had 2 albums out and he had all this crazy money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good choice. It's a good choice. I'd be surprised if it was lower on anyone's list, really. Brian's number 3, guys, is Animals. Again, no track listing
that's
information.
well, Peter said everything that was really relevant about it, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
My number
great album.
3.
That is a journey. I don't even think about it as tracks anymore. I just think about it. Oh,
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
this
It is a
part's
journey.
next, and this breakdown's next, and this is coming up. And all these highs and lows of the album. I really
It
look
is,
forward.
yeah.
To.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait for that part to come.
My number 3, guys, is Dark Side of the Moon. Is it overplayed? Yeah. But it's a fantastic album. I've had this on vinyl. I've had this on CD, many different versions. I have the immersion box set with the original run of the album, the original sequence of the album.
Is that what that alternative different triangles on it with the rainbows
Yeah.
coming out?
Yeah,
with the, like,
Yeah.
where the
I don't
version
have it.
the version I have on the immersion set on the run is called the travel sequence, right?
Is that the 5.1 with that
Yeah.
as well? And the
Yeah.
quadraphonic
Yeah, it was
too? 'Cause they
5.1.
did quadraphonic for
Yeah,
Wish You Were Here, which I think
Yeah.
if you didn't have the setup, you're
yeah.
paying for
No,
it.
I mean, to me, this album, I mean, like, I just a little bit of background. I got into this album. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I mean, after all the time we've been talking, what the hell?
I got a long story. That's the wall. I'll tell you that after.
No. Well, we'll get into that. I
Oh,
had
yeah,
a
we will.
neighbor who gave me a copy of Dark Side of the Moon. He lived 2 doors down from me, and he's like, and I must have been about 9 years old. He gave me a copy. Eddie, if you're watching, I mean, probably not, but Eddie, his name was Eddie Guerra. And he gave me a copy of Dark Side of the Moon. And he's like, Armando, you have to, this is, the way he explained it to a 9-year-old was, this is a special record. You have to really listen to this. I put it on my little dinky turntable record player when I had at the time. I'm listening for it. No music is coming out. Nothing's happening. I'm like, did I break the what did I do? I don't know. It was too much for a 9-year-old to get into, right? So
Stop touching stuff.
I got into this full time, and you know, I dove into it when I was 18 years old, and I was hooked ever since. I've listened to it over and over again. Sonically, it's a fantastic album. The work they did on it, the production is flawless, in my very humble opinion. Again, is it overplayed? Yeah, I think that's why it's my number 3. I still love it, but there's 2 more that I love more. So that are coming up. So that's my number 3. Number 2, over to Bill.
All right. Thank you, Armando. All right. This also used to be my number 1 years ago, especially when I was a teenager. The Wall. Armando and I did a deep dive on this a few months ago, trying to decide whether this is a masterpiece album or not. So if you're interested in hearing more than you ever wanted to hear with us talking about it, go check that out. I won't go into
80
too much
minutes worth.
detail.
Go on.
Yeah. But I just, one of the main things about this album, though, that I like to emphasize is that I don't believe there's filler. And yeah, I agree that all those little parts are necessary for this album.
Yeah.
I really
Take 'em
like
out.
all the,
It'll
I
clunk.
mean, side 3, you got Hey You and Comfortably Numb, which were both big rock radio hits, but everything in between them on that side is vital, that connects them. Is there anybody out there? I love Nobody Home and Vera. And especially after finding out what Vera was about and who Vera Lynn was.
Everybody had a Vera in their life at one point or another.
Yeah.
Vera was
Everybody.
actually a popular singer in England during World War II.
Mm.
And I believe the name of her song was We'll Meet Again,
Mhm.
one of her big hits, which if you listen to the lyrics of Vera, it's pretty clear there. But when this came out, I had no idea who Vera Lynn was. So it's cool to find out those things along the way that add depth to the album and help get into what the songwriters were getting at. And yeah, this is an entire album. I kind of thought I was over it for a while, but doing that deep dive with Armando definitely rekindled my love for this album. Otherwise, it probably would have been a few notches lower on my list. But yeah, I've realized it's held up well. It's a masterpiece, top to bottom.
You're welcome.
I think it is. I think it is a masterpiece.
Yeah,
All right.
it is.
Thanks. Thanks, Bill. Okay. Brian, you're number 2.
2. I'm picking Zawal. And I identify with this album since it came out. So I'm a military brat. My father was, he did 5 tours in Vietnam. I was born in Germany. This came out in 77. Was it 77? 78?
79.
Was it 79?
December 79, yeah.
79.
Anyway, we moved. My parents were going through a divorce right when he came back because he re-enlisted right after Vietnam for the reserves. My mother left him, so I don't even 70. You said 79.
Yeah,
So I was 7
70.
years. I was 7 years old by this time. They divorced when I was 5. Neither one of my parents raised me. I was being raised by my grandmother, and she's a Canuck from Nova Scotia. So
Gotta watch those
talking
Nova
about-
Scotians.
Nova Scotia, yeah. So Blinkhorn, one of those. So actually, she was one of the youngest witnesses of what do they call it there? When the big frigate blew up in the harbor. She was one of the early. Well, she was like 5 or 6 years old
Okay.
when it
Okay.
happened. It was like a nuclear bomb went off in the harbor. Okay, so it was World War One.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know. Okay.
There was an ammo frigate, and then there was a medical frigate, and they collided in this harbor. So she's the one that raised. So having you identify being an only child as well, music was my thing. It started with 8 tracks, and then it started with records. But when I had my own paper route money, I went and bought this cassette, and I started identifying with it. And then this is before I was even smoking pot or any of that kind of shit, right? But I identified with the music because of the lyrics. So, you know, again, a distant mother. So mother hit it right on the head. My father was gone. So always with that depressing, but his father was dead. My father was gone. My father was busy. So that same alienation of growing up without a father and then growing up with a single grandmother, right? So with all these things, the lyrics in this album absolutely jumped out of nowhere and just grabbed me by the throat and said, "You got to listen to me. You listen, right?" And I took to it like a sponge, and I was already playing guitar. I ended up buying my own drum set. I started playing drums. I still play drums. I've done very well. I've been professional and been paid and recorded. But this is an album that I can't shake. And after listening to it, you know, in my childhood, I think I started finding the hair metal back in 82, 81. So you're talking Saxon, you know, even Alice Cooper. So I was getting away from Floyd. I found it again when I think I was 17 and we were going to a concert. Actually, I think we're going to a one of these high school pit parties, you know, with the keg parties, right? First time I smoked pot, first album that was on was The Wall. And it immediately, like, not only identifying with it, but after a couple indulgences, it blew my mind where it's like emotionally I embraced it in a whole different of like a revisitation or a reinvigoration, I guess, for the album, you know. And then I had the cassette, then I bought the CD when CDs were new, and then I just bought this this record. So that's the remix. This is the first time I didn't grow up on record. I grew up on the cassette. So, but this is the first time having the record. And since I've had this, which I think is 2019, I'm not sure. It might 2018, but I've listened to that 10 times in a month. And that's the first month. And it's not burning out. It's just because the production on it is so much better than my crappy cassette that's, you know, 30 years old or 35 years old, whatever it is. And the remaster with the production, which I loved everything about it, it really it opened up a whole new segue of what I was going to do and what I was going to pursue in music, what I wanted to play is for drums, because I'm big on like blues and jazz, big on that. But I get all that Bill Ward from Black Sabbath anyway, so that's kind of my influence. But listening to his drums taught me a whole different mastering of slow it down means a little bit more. And then the really punchy stuff like In the Flesh or on the Thin Ice, those songs just absolutely envelop me emotionally. And every time I hear them, my stuff doesn't go up to 11. I wish I could make everything go up to 20, you know, but I got it as loud as I can get it without getting kicked out. So usually when I'm playing it, it's probably on full blast. And going back to that, The Wall. I remember my father telling me, I went and saw this in the movie theater. Now this is rated R, and this came out in 82. So I'm 10 years old at this point. And he's telling me about how he went on a date, because this ended up being my stepmother later. We had to walk out on it. It was terrible. Oh, whoops.
We lost you there. There you go.
He's like, we walked out on it. It was terrible. I was like, Dad, you're listening to, it's like a big music video. MTV was around I don't even think MTV was around at the time, but videos were around.
It was around, 81.
Top of the Pops. Well, we had V66, so you had to put your UHF, this is before cable, UHF between U and 2, and then you had to go 66 or like 68. You had to get that thing right there in the balance, work the rabbit ears so you can get these videos to come in, right? So I think I think Bon Jovi was probably one of the first videos I saw that was on there from the Runaway album. But anyway,
Okay.
so this album made a huge impact on my life. It's still I still identify with it. I still encompass it, and I still feel like an alien. You know what I mean?
I think
I'm
we all do at some point. Yeah.
I'm a German citizen living in America, and all I have is my music. And this album kind of really blasted a hole through the door for me to walk through, so I don't feel like a victim anymore. And the more I listen to it, the more I identify with it, more I can identify with others that might be going through same alienation, same divorces. I raised a kid that wasn't even mine, put him through college, and still doesn't talk to me. So it's one of those really strange, borderline emotional, without playing the victim now, but listening to his mistakes in the lyrics, don't make them your mistakes.
I
From
get
what you
you.
gather
Yeah.
from it.
No, it's true. It's true.
Try and learn from it. But the lyrics gave you a lot of things. But you said Vera. I love that song. But everybody had a Vera in their life. Everybody came with some kind of snake oil salesman that got in underneath your skin that you didn't realize until after it left, and left
Yeah,
you greasy.
True.
So Bring the Boys Back Home. That was an anthem song, which I love. I played that for my father, and he didn't get it. He didn't get the movie. He didn't get the music. I try and talk to him, but didn't get it. I could talk to him about Simon and Garfunkel and ABBA all day, or even Steve Miller, but I can't talk to him about Pink Floyd and all this. Let's say drug induced. That's what I was calling it, drug induced. I didn't even know it was prog. But every time I used to say, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is good when you smoke weed. Oh, this is good if you're gonna have a couple beers or whatever."
Yeah.
I never knew what prog was, and it actually I just learned the term like within 5 years, 6. But now I know what it is. I'm a huge Yes fan. I listen to Camel. I listen to all this stuff. I didn't even know it was prog. I just thought it was rock and roll.
Yeah. Yeah. No, cool. All right.
Yeah, that's an impact album, and that's something. Oh man, everybody thinks that an album speaks to them specifically, but the lyrics are written for everybody. But this one just whispers and whispers in my ear, even when it's off.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, it's an earworm.
All right, Peter, you're number 2.
Number 2, A Dark Side of the Moon. What hasn't been said about this? Impeccably recorded. Just wonderful songs all the way through. Breathe and On the Run. Time is probably my favorite on here. The Great Gig in the Sky with the Claire Torrey on the vocals.
Yep.
Just it's a wonderful piece of music in itself. Money, great, overplayed of course, but great rock song. Us and Them's great. Any Color You Like, good instrumental, and a great finish. Brain Damage and Eclipse, isn't it? Just a wonderful finish. So. Just nearly just about a perfect album. Yeah, but I prefer one more than it. But number 2, Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah.
Yeah, with the reprise too. Yeah, Breathe. Yeah.
All right. Andrew, you're number 2.
I'm gonna take flack for this one, but it's going to be Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Just because I'm a huge Sid Barrett fan. I had a friend of mine from high school. We both worked at the same record store. He got me listening to this album, and I got hooked. And then I had to find the whole entire Sid Barrett catalog. And then I also found out that the musician Robin Hitchcock actually is an aficionado on Sid Barrett, and he based a lot of his music on Sid Barrett. And one of my other favorite albums is from the group Wire, Chairs Missing. It's their second album is based on this album. It was supposed to be produced by Joe Boyd, but they're supposed to go on Polydor Records, but they decided their managers decided to go with EMI, and EMI said, "We're not using Joe Boyd. We're going to use our own folks." I love all the songs like Scarecrow Flaming, Interstellar Overdrive, Astronomy Domain, for me, this is like one of the go-to psychedelic records of all time. Pink Floyd was known a lot by playing at the UFO Club that was owned by Joe Boyd. And supposedly after recording this album, this is where Sid Barrett went on his 6-day binge of LSD and was never the same after that.
Yeah, he
And,
fried his brain after
it's too-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it screwed him up, and it might have helped the band in the long run, but at the time, they were pretty much lost without Sid. They performed, but he wasn't showing up, and that's why they got David Gilmour in the band. That's why I like this album, and it's my number 2.
Cool. No, it's a good choice.
It's a solid album. It is. It's good.
It's good.
You have to put him somewhere. Have to put
Yeah.
him somewhere.
Yeah.
That is the issue with these lists, right? They have to go somewhere on the list.
Somewhere, yeah.
Some
Ryan's,
speak more than others, right?
Ryan's number 2
Yeah.
is Dark Side of the Moon. Big surprise. Joking, right? I mean, it's usually some person's number 1 or 2 album, or in my case, a third. My number 2, as I pull up my list here, because I'm dealing with 2 lists here, is, oh, what the hell? Hold on. Okay, my number 2 is Wish You Were Here. I think from top to bottom, it's a fantastic album. Shine On You Crazy Diamonds, both parts, how they bookend the album. The title track dedicated to Sid Barrett, the infamous story about the fact that they were recording the album and there was a stranger in the recording studio in the room, and they turned and nobody recognized them except for Gilmour, and it was Sid.
Mhm.
And he wouldn't talk to them until they talked to him first. And they played him, I forget which track it was. And all he said was, "It sounds a bit dated to me." And then he walked out. And it apparently reduced Gilmour and Waters to tears, the fact that he just deteriorated the way he did. Other tracks, Have a Cigar. I think I said that. Welcome to the Machine. Fantastic. Have a Cigar featuring Roy Harper on vocals. And he was saying in an interview that he could tell that they were going through issues. They were fighting in the studio. He happened to be recording an album in the next studio.
Right.
And he was listening to what they were recording, and he said, "Well, I'll give it a go." Right? So he did it, and they kept the vocal. But then Roger Waters always afterwards said, "I should have done it better. I could have re-recorded my vocal. I could have done it better." He hates the fact that Roy Harper appears on the album. It's like, okay, whatever. But and that's my number 2. Wish You Were Here. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more round. The number 1 album on our list.
All right. I just want to give quick props to Andrew for throwing such a curveball in there with Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Okay. That'd be cool. I placed it much lower on mine, but I think it's awesome to see people have different things. You look at different artists other than Pink Floyd, I'm going to have a lot of more unusual choices, but
There's not one bad album in this whole catalog. It just
No.
something's got to go somewhere out of all the numbers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've said
All
I'm
good.
a Roger fanboy, so naturally my number 1 is Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. We already did that ranking.
Cool.
You just went through a time warp.
No, we did the Roger Waters ranking a few months ago too. That was my number 1, but no, it's Dark Side. Of course, it's Dark Side. It's such a basic, boring choice, but it's a masterpiece. I can't help it. It
It's
has
a
two of Rick's
Picasso. It's
most
a
beautiful melodies.
Picasso.
I mean, Rick had such musical beauty with Us and Them and The Great Gig in the Sky.
Yes.
And when you throw Claire Torrey on top of The Great Gig in the Sky, that thing still gives me chills.
Dude, the saxophone the saxophone
Dick
through like
Perry
most of these
is,
albums just blows me away. And they're the baritones and the oh man.
yeah,
You want
Dick
to talk
Perry
about
is an important part of this album.
wearing your emotion on your sleeve is that saxophone player, and they use as much of it as they could. Man, I'm glad they didn't put saxophone in Welcome to the Machine. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. That video is crazy too. It's all video animation. I don't know if you've seen it.
Mhm.
Woo,
So-
that's a good one.
Were you done, Bill? That's your number one.
I do want to say that this is possibly the most perfect example of the band working as a band and each contributing a lot to the final product. They all had something of great value to offer on Dark Side of the Moon.
This was
And
a baby.
after this, they
for all
started
of
to fragment.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. But remember Roger Waters with all the trying to do all the Moog thing or whatever the MIDI I don't even
Synthesizer.
know it was MIDI, but you know all the noises and stuff, and it was like different. I think it took him 8 months to try and figure out what it was just to do like On the Run and all that.
Yeah.
Just to try and get it nice because everything was on a metronome. Then they took the metronome and then they brought the metronome back, and then oh man, you want to talk about sitting and stewing because you had too much free time kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Sure enough.
That's almost like an obsession of perfection, and they actually nailed it. The record sales say it alone. Never mind the hits that they had off of it too.
Sure enough. Sure enough.
But the
Okay.
saxophone, wow, saxophone was just awesome.
Okay, Brian, you're number one.
It's the same. It's Dark Side.
Okay.
I love it, and I got again with the remastered. But
Cool.
yeah, thank you, Alan Parsons. Thank you.
Perfect.
And
If it wasn't number one on someone's list, I'd be surprised actually.
I think
True.
my favorite song off it is Us and Them, and that caught me when I was like making sandwiches at a deli one day. That came on the radio and it grabbed me. And then hold on, Eclipse, Breathe, and yeah, Great Gig in the Sky. Those are like the real standouts for me. And Great Gig, I love, and I know that they had a hard time trying to nail down the final cut of that because they had so many of these people trying out, and one was just as good as the next. So, but what they picked, I think, was brilliant.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Peter.
That's an encore.
My number one, and has always been my number one. Wish You Were Here. Just love this, everything about it. It's probably one of my top 5 albums of all time. Shine On You Crazy Diamond, my favorite song.
Yep.
Just probably eclipsing Comfortably Numb and Echoes, probably. But the front part and the back part, whatever you want to talk about, it's just wonderful. Welcome to the Machine, another great song. A great rock song in Have a Cigar, and the beautiful Wish You Were Here. Just nearly perfection for me. Dark Side's awesome. Was my number 2, but and Animals at 3, but I can't go past this. It's always took to this album really easily. Great album. Yeah.
I still remember the first time I heard that album, and it just grabbed me. It just grabbed me and dragged me down the street for the ride, and I loved it.
Oh
the whole way.
yeah, definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
Yep, it's a great
Skinned
album.
up
Wonderful.
knees, banged up elbows. Love that album all the way through.
Good choice.
Yeah, it's
Good choice.
awesome.
All right. Andrew, you're number one.
Same.
Oh,
Wish You Were Here. Can't get enough of it. I love Have a Cigar, Wish You Were Here, Welcome to the Machine, Shine On. I also like what you said about Sid Barrett showing up, but he had a shaved head and he was actually overweight. So that's probably why they
Yeah.
didn't recognize him. He looked horrible. This album deals with the themes of alienation and criticism of the music business. This is when they started fighting a little bit, not a whole lot. I like the fact that they used Roy Harper on the album, and I love the cover. It's one of my favorite album covers of all time. So I just love this album. I go to it all the time, and I can't get enough of it, even though it's on rock radio quite a bit. I can't get enough of this album, backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Even that
It's a
remix
classic.
has it has those two like machine hands doing the
Yeah, it
shake.
does.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. But I do want to get original
Mhm.
with that. I'll probably find it at a
Yeah.
flea market.
All right.
Yeah.
Ryan's number one album is Meadow. And I can only imagine it's due to the fact of
That may play on everybody. I think.
echoes and, one of
Yeah.
these days. My number one, ladies and gentlemen, out there in YouTube land is The Wall. Okay.
Boop.
I have, thank you, Brian. I've literally fallen in love with this album, if that's even possible. I'd marry this son of a bitch if I could. I first heard this album when I was 9, when it came out. My brother-in-law at the time was a big music fan, so he brought all these albums over one night, and The Wall was one of them. And it was too confusing for me. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
Being 9 years old, how the hell are you going to get into The Wall kind of thing, right? I bought it when I was 18. I found it at a local record store in Toronto, A&A Records. I found it for $8.99. I snatched that SOB up and I played it like from cover to cover. I would pick a Sunday, like every Sunday, sorry, I should say. I'd sit there for 2 hours and just soak myself in it. And just every song for me works. It is a masterpiece. Like Bill and I did the video a few months ago. It is a masterpiece to me. I've heard people say, and I'll remain nameless, that it should be a single album. What tracks could you remove to make this a cohesive single album? I dare you to put it down in the comments and let me know what tell me those tracks. I really, in all honesty, and I'm being serious now, I'd like to know what tracks that you would remove to make this a cohesive album working from cover to cover. It does not work. It works as a double album from track 1 to track 26. I am sorry. That is the end of the story. And
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. Again, no, tell me, like, really, out there, people watching, tell me in the comments down below, what tracks you would remove from The Wall to make it an album that makes sense, especially dealing with the storyline. You can't. There's no way. So, I mean, for me, this is a masterpiece. Yes, Brian?
What I like about it is the trial and the judge. That is impactful. I like it for what it is. I think people don't like it because I think it goes askew, maybe on people that don't like, I don't know, non-hits or something. I don't know.
To me, every track on this album works, from In the Flesh to The Thin Ice to Another Brick in the Wall Part 1, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2.
Goodbye, Blue Sky.
Like The Happiest Days of Our Lives to Mother.
One of my turns.
One of my turns. Every track works. One of my turns. Every track works.
One of my turns is the flip side of this 45, and I never heard it on the radio, but I guess it's the radio friendly version.
I guess so. I mean, Bob and I saw Roger Waters here in Edmonton when he did The Wall in its entirety. And I tried to play this album for Bob before we went to the show. And he said, no, I know the hits. I know Another Brick in the Wall. I know, comfortably enough. I said, no, you have to sit and listen to this. It's an experience. It's not just an album. I'll be okay. He was blown away.
Yep.
Okay. He sat there gobsmacked. He was like,
Yeah.
he couldn't believe what he was watching. So
This is like listening to Tool in 1991 back in 1977. It was
Yeah.
like it was that kind of
79, yeah. 79, yeah. So,
complexity, you know, the complexity
yeah.
and the deep
So I mean,
the production and the deep tones, the deep and the drums were just off the wall. I love the
no,
drums.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, you know, in closing, I'm sorry if I'm being long-winded. It is sad that at this point, Roger Waters felt that he was indeed Pink Floyd, and that Richard Wright was basically out of the band, and he
They
was
screwed him
bullied
over
out of the
bad.
band.
I'm mad about that.
And
I'm not even mad about what happened. I'm mad that they screwed him out of his credit, and he's not even on the wall.
well, he got, and just in closing, he got
Credit.
the last laugh, because when they toured with the album, he was not an official band member. He was a session
Yeah, I
player.
know.
So he got
That's
paid
right.
more money than they did. So
He was a gun for hire, right?
yeah,
He actually got paid.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
there
But
you
it's
have it,
still-
everybody. Our 15 Pink Floyd albums ranked 15-1. It's a hell of a show, hell of a ranking. So down there in the comments, down below, please tell us what is your favorite Pink Floyd album from 15-1. Take the time, put the list together, let us know. I want to
Two
thank
honorable mentions.
which one?
I wanted 2 honorable mentions. I was working in a restaurant when they were bringing down the Berlin Wall, playing it live on the radio, and I was right there recording tapes, not cutting out commercials. I was recording the whole thing. Then they came out with it after, but they fixed everything. But I have the version where it's got Van Morrison screwing up the lyrics.
Oh, you mean from 1990? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So,
then there was all right, so there was live at the Berlin version, and Cyndi Lauper came out and she was doing another Brick in the Wall part 2.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Pulse, which was a very good DVD. And I remember that when it came out, there was like on the spine, right? There was a red dot with a battery. I don't know if it was
Diode, yeah.
It was a CD.
Light emitting,
It
yeah.
was going on for like I don't know how long, but my friend bought one. He's like, "Hey, my battery died." I was like, "When'd you buy it?" He's like, "Oh, I just bought it yesterday." I was like, "Yeah, that came out like 2.5 years ago. That thing's been blinking for 2.5 years."
Yeah.
It's funny.
Okay, guys. Thank you for watching. I want to thank Bill Schuster, Peter Kent, Brian McFadden, and
Thank
Andrew
you very much.
Cox for joining me for this ranking. So
Subscribe, hit like.
again, down there in the comments, put your
What's your
list
favorites?
together. Let us know what you think, and click like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. Peter Kent and I are going to be doing a Cars album ranking next Saturday. It's going to be airing on Sunday.
I love cars.
Bill Schuster and I are going to be doing quite a few videos together in the coming weeks.
Nice.
Most notably, we're going to be doing a video on the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be
It's one of my favorite soundtracks.
it's going to be
of all
fun.
time, next to
It is
Star
going to
Wars.
be fun. So again, for all of us here, please, guys, have a good night. Look after yourselves and one another. Please be safe. And I will see you soon with another video. Bye for now.
Thank you.